These are parts 1 and 2. These go inside the roofs and they intersect along the lines that have the flat, along the flat line along the top. Parts 3, 4 and 5 is the base. That's 3. That's 4 and 5, the front and the back. 6, 7 and 8 all have identical parts. 6 is the sides. 7 is the shelf. And 8 is the window frame that fits along the top. We'll go through them soon. 9 are these 2 pieces. They make up the roof on the shop front window. 10, 11, 12 are these 3 shapes. They basically fit in a row. With these slotted over the top. "13 and 14 are the front windows. They fit together like this inside these holes on part 12, and they also fit on the base, which is part 3. 15 are these 2 skinny pieces. They fit in between the frame on the front of the bookshop windows. 16 and 17, these are the doorsteps. They slot into the holes inside the wall of the front piece on part, is it 4? No, on part 5, underneath the door. 18 is the frame for the door, which fits over the top. 19 is the lantern that hangs over the top of the door frame. 20 and 21. It's 2 of the 20s, which are these 2 shorter ones with the two tabs, and 21 with the 3 tabs, and they are the shelves on the front of the window. So they just slot in there and here. 22 are 4 of these pieces. You probably have extra. They hold up the bookshop sign. They slot into these 2 pieces, 23 and 24. They're numbered different because they are mirrored, and you want to make sure that they fit the bookshop correctly. And then you have 25 and 26, which is the engraved pieces, which go over the top. Should have this sheet, which gives you a little sort of bird's eye view of what the pieces should look like. Didn't realize I was in shot. Oh well. I have this piece of wood just to lay my glue on. I'm using just some regular wood glue. It's not sponsored, it's just what I have. I have a bit of scrap piece of wood just to use as my dabbing tool. You should have your elastic band, which should be included in your order. If not, any large elastic band will do. Okay, so the first step is to take the roof pieces, so that's parts 1 and 2. You just want to dab your glue either side of the tab, and then a little glue. Just brush a little glue in between. And then make sure that this piece with make sure the straight line is at the top. So that'll be like so. We'll dab glue on the other side. I find it easier to start on one side, make sure that it fits in, and then kind of like move down the piece. Then get some more glue, dab it on our parts. I'm going to get a little bit of glue on these tabs, just a touch, and I'll pop a little bit here. Clean this up quickly just by a matchstick would be quite good as an applicator because it's quite small. Got glue everywhere already. We get our other part. Line it up. And then make sure that both sides are even before you apply too much pressure. Make sure that you found their holes. And then you can put a little bit more, just a little bit more pressure to get it to seal. There we go. Just gonna there we go. Just wipe some of the excess glue. There we are, that's the roof done. Put that aside. Then we want parts 3, 4, and 5. I like to start with the back. I like to try and get glue on the insides of the tabs as well as the fronts and the backs. I'm only going to do the backs on this one so the glue doesn't bleed through on the front, even though I've got glue on the front. So yeah, slide it in on one side, press down. You want to try and do the walls with a little bit of speed because you don't want the glue to dry before you lose the kind of like wiggle room, if you will. I'll explain in a second. When I put the side pieces on, we'll tab a bit of glue both sides because there's less material on this piece. Wait, don't need it at the bottom, do you? So when you put the back on, make sure you get the window on the right side, the detailing on the right side, and then pop that in. Not going to worry about the glue on that side because the steps are going to go there. So we are going to take these off because we're going to glue them on later. Pop some more glue. Some on the inside tabs. And we'll lay that one flat because we haven't put glue on the front. We'll do the same on the other one. So this part is a tiny bit tricky. You may need to release the parts first. You know what? It's probably easier to do this before you glue it. Now we found their place. See on the other side. And then we're just going to get a bit of glue. Dab it in that slot. Might be easier to do all in one go. think that would have been easier to do all at once. Thinking about it. So I'm just gonna wipe away the glue in places I can see. We're gonna get our elastic band and stretch it over. It's a little finicky because of the roof shape. But then that should and what I think is a good idea to do is wait till this fully dries. This is basically dried now. Make sure your roof fits comfortably because the elastic band can restrict it too much. I think I've got a nice sort of resistance there, so I'm gonna take that out. So next we're going to dab a little glue in these corners. We're not doing the insides just yet. We'll do a little here and here. And that just slots in on the side. And you take your window frame, dab some more on the tabs, a little at the bottom. And then we're going to add a touch on the sides. And then that slots in to the holes. And then actually thinking about it, you can use the elastic band to keep that in place. There we go. Do the other side. Just dab where this will meet the walls, which is everything on, like, say there's 3 layers, 1, 2, and 3. You want everything touching on the top of layer 3. The bottom of layer 2, because these spaces is where the frame is going to go into. I'll slot that in. Dab some glue on the tabs on the window frames. Again at the bottom. touch at the top. Oops. Grabbed it by the bottom then. Slot it into the base first. I'm going to press where the wood is thickest. It's just come a little loose there. So let's poke it in. Press that against the wall, and then pop the elastic band around it, and that should keep it. I'm just going to remove a bit more of the glue poking out. Oops. Okay, we can pop that aside for a minute. Parts number 9 are these small funny shaped pieces, and they fit into 10, 11, 12. So 10, 11, 12. Just going to dab some glue in between these two parts. That's what we really need. I'm going to start with the smallest, number 9, and sorry, that's number 10, it's number 9. So we'll start with slot in number 10, and we're going to slot this tallest tab into the back. So and it should fit around this small divot. We'll do the same on the other number 9. Goes into the back. There we go. Take some of that glue away. Then I'm going to apply a tiny bit of glue there, and a little bit all along the base. I'm going to avoid the back for now. I'm going to get number 11, and then these slot on the back too, so that these two pieces along their sides line up. I'll try and be careful not to put too much pressure on one side or the other, because then they can snap if you put too much force. Might be easy just to let it slot down like that, and then let it find both of them at the same time. And then I'm gonna put some more glue on the underside. some in between the tab. And then we're going to slot it on these four tab holes. There we go. It's the beginnings of the roof. And we'll just mop up a bit of glue there and here. It's the trickiest part. So you want the two 13s, the 14, and the two 15s handy. Need to pay attention to the detailing because it's blank on the back. It's got the small panel at the front. So I'm going to dab some glue into the largest one for now. Be careful not to put too much pressure, especially on these thinner pieces. They do snap if you put a lot of pressure. Put some, but if you have any breakages, just give us a shout. We'll replace any broken parts. Just give us a call, all right? Then we get the tops of the smaller ones. Dab some more glue and pop it in this side. There we go. And we'll get the final side. So what I'm doing is slotting it in one side, wiggling it till it fits, pressing down on the inside. Then we get one of these, add a bit of glue to the sides of the tabs, so it's basically covering everywhere. It will be kind of submerged into the roof, except for actually you could do the top actually, because let's go inside. So it's in there. These are mirrored along either side, so it doesn't really matter which end you place them. And now a mad dash. So you want to get glue everywhere. This is going to touch the base, so everywhere's going to touch around here. Get a little bit on tabs. Do a little bit on those two thin bits. Number 15. So I'm gonna get more glue, paste it along the back wall, pop it around the tabs, get it in and around the tabs, do it on top. So it just requires moving the pieces, each one, until they start to fit. There we go, that's all of the tabs in, and then you push down until they meet the back. There we go. If we press along the base and the top of the shop roof, and press down to the frames. So you want to be pressing down like this, and that's the hardest part over. Brush away the excess glue. Okay, the next part is the door frame and the stairs. So you want 16 and 17. Start with 16. I'm going to apply some glue along the side, around its tabs. Pop a little on the tab, and I'm going to apply a little bit of glue on the base, but I'm not going to go right near the front because it needs to slide, so you want to give a little space for the two pieces. You want to give a little space for the glue to slide across the piece, otherwise it'll smear across the doorstep. So I'll just pop it into those two holes, press it in. There we get the next one. Gonna have glue all over my stick. So I'm gonna pop a little glue on the top. Along the sides. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue here for when the door goes in. I'm going to pop a tiny, that's too much, pop a tiny bit of glue just on the very back. That should be enough. And that slots into that hole. Sometimes you just got to wiggle the pieces around a little, just so they can find their place. There we go. There we go. There, they found their way home. And then we grab the door frame. Gonna place a little on the bottom. A little on the back, and a tiny bit along the top of the door frame, and a tiny bit along the edge. You don't want a lot. Just gonna wipe the glue off my hands before I start. And then this fits into the center hole on the steps and either side of the frame, and you just want to make sure it's aligned. Just press down into the frame and press it against its, and then press it against the wall. Just going to clear it up. Next we have the lantern. We just pop a bit of glue between its tabs, a little either side, do a tiny underneath, and touch on top. And it just slots into these two holes above the door. Nearly there, home stretch. Next we need pieces 20 and 21. There are two 20s, one 21. Dab a bit of glue in between the tabs. A little on the tab. And these are the windowsills. So I'm just going to slot it in this side first. Just press it in. Oops. And then for the large one, practically the same. A tiny bit on tabs. Slots in. And finally, we have 22 to 26. These are number 22s. You should have more than 4, but you only need 4. These hold up the sign inside above the windows. They have a specific shape where one corner of the triangle that makes it the main body, if you ignore the tabs, there's the triangle piece. Now this is the piece that's going to be pointing outwards. So they're going to be pointing like so. So you want to imagine the book being held open, and the soft parts are where your fingers are likely to go behind. So it's easier, I'll take the elastic band off, it's easier to assemble Bookshop sign and then placing everything on there. Best thing to do is to lay it out first so you can see where you're going to be going. You want to make sure that the backing, the back piece, matches the waviness of the books. So I find it easy just to lay it out so you can see how it's going to match. So I'll pop those aside. I'm going to flip these over so I know that that's the front. So we're now facing the back. grab my glue. We know that this is the piece that's going to attach between the two. And the side and the corner with the rounded edge is going to be the face that slots into the sign itself. So we're going to dab glue just on that bit first, just on that face first, and just on that tab for now. We're going to place that inside. You want to make sure that the tab is facing into the book, because it's going to open like this. So you want the tab to be in a pyramid facing towards. So I'll do the opposite side now to show. So you've got the rounded corner. Dab a bit around its tab. And then it's going to looks like little feet, little shoes. Rounded corner. Facing inwards. Find the rounded corner. Dab on its side. Make sure it matches. There we go. Just gonna press down into these. We're going to attach the backing to the sign first, so it's easier to align the Bookshop sign when it's affixed to the shop. So we get our glue again, and we're going to dab it on the tabs that remain. I'm gonna do both now because it won't dry fast. It won't dry that fast. I would recommend painting at this stage before you put the sign on, because this is the hardest part. Will be to try and paint behind the sign once it's on. So I would recommend pausing gluing before this step, and at the very least painting the sides. At the very least paint behind where the sign is, but try not to get glue inside the tab holes, because then it'll make it harder to press the tabs into them. So now that we've got our signs ready, I'm just going to check that it is upright. And it is, it matches. So I'm going to slide the first one in. Just going to put a tiny bit of pressure on the edge so we have it fitting. That one matches. I haven't done it upside down. Good. And then we're gonna slap that one in. Just takes a little wiggling sometimes just to get it to find its place. There we go. press it tightly to the base as possible, because you want it to be as close as possible. Then we get our Labuno and the OK sign. I place a little in the center on both of them. This bit is not as tricky as the windows, but it does take a little playing with. I'm going to stand up so I can see what I'm doing. That camera's far too close. I just realized. So yeah, we're gonna get the Buno, we're gonna get the OK. We're gonna place them so that their corners touch as best as possible. So let them rest, press them down, and then while the glue is still wet, I'm just going to slide them around until they look aligned. Put a little more pressure to make sure the glue holds. See, it just slipped then, so you're going to be a bit. There we go. I think that looks good. That looks aligned to me. There we go. So you see, it's going to be a little difficult to paint down the edges, so it might be worth painting the back of the sign and the wall before you place the sign on. There we go. Slide the roof. There we go. Your book nook is ready.